Johnny or
Barry.
We'll call the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory together. Staff confirmation of the Kansas Open Meetings Act.
Yes, it was.
Roll call. Paul?
Paul Gebhardt.
John Miller.
Ann Zimmerman.
Ashley Campbell.
Larry Penkratz.
Kevin Janaszek.
And I don't see any guest. Well, do you want to introduce Tyler? Or?
Sure.
It's an introduction of guests. I mean,
We can do that. We have Tyler Brown. He is one of our recreation leaders, and we try to put a face with a name in front of you guys since we've had some new people, and so he can take a quick 30 seconds, minute, whatever he wants to introduce himself, kind of tell you what programs he kind of oversees and what he's got going on and coming up.
Tyler, you have to talk on the mic.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can sit down.
you can sit down.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. This will be I've been here 2 years since February, but this will be my third year with seasonal stuff. So spring baseball, I'm in charge of youth baseball. I'm in charge of EFRA, K-Dub, Salina Central, Salina South. I help them guys, whatever they need up there. Matson, which is getting done right now, which is going to be done for the year. But we actually we have adult softball now that was really low in numbers before I got here, and now it's taken off. Last year we had late summer with 14 teams. Then in the fall we had 28 teams, and now we're bringing back spring softball too. So we're starting that next week on the 24th. We have a full 12 team.
And that's slow pitch?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
And then I run flag football. I help with events at the field house. I kind of just do everything that Travis asked me to do. So I enjoy it. And I had adult basketball league this year. We had almost 16 teams, and we had no problems this year because you have to put in a standpoint with how their attitudes are. So this year actually ran great, no drama, and I'm looking forward to next year because we're going to have more teams that are interested. So everything's going smoothly.
Just if I may, and it just occurred to me that in the past, and I'm 3 or 4 years ago, we used to actively invite more guests to come to speak. Maybe they're partners with Parks and Recreation, maybe there's some type of relationship. If there are certain guests that the board would like to have staff invite for some type of report, I'd be happy to make that happen. I think we got out of the habit, and that's the opportunity for this on this part of the agenda for that to happen. So if there are specific guests you would like for staff to invite, I'd be happy to do so.
I'd like to see something on Smoke Hill River because Parks and Rec's going to end up with it, and it seems like you just hear from the Smoke Hill River group that what's going on, but you all are going to end up with all the paths and those things, and now they're doing all the environmental testing there. I've been noticing Lakewood, all the different stuff they're doing. So just kind of curious where and how soon that's actually starting up. And
sure, good idea. And I think we've had that before from Friends of the River. It's been some time though.
Yeah,
so,
it's been longer than I've been on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but there has been some recent occurrences, and there are some boots on the ground activities going to start, like as you mentioned. They're starting to go through some exercises, developing the aesthetics of what things are going to look like, and so that would be a great idea to get an update of that.
I think it's also good when you bring different staff in, like with Tyler, to just kind of get an update because how many staff do you have?
Around 60.
Yeah, and all those different departments. All the parks, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Right, department-wide 60.
Yeah, just like a department head for a lot of different ones would be good. Because when I got here, I didn't realize you're in charge of the maintenance staff, and just what they do is just a lot. So yeah.
Right, but I'm happy to schedule any other guests at any other than the river. I have that one, but if there's others, or if you want to think about it and report back or send me an email, that would be fine.
Anything else? All right, approval of the agenda for today.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Everybody approve of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
We'll turn it over to Jeff for activity reports.
Thank you, Mr. Pankratz and board members. Again, I'm going to highlight some items on here, and Travis will highlight some fieldhouse and athletics activities. Some of the pictures in Oakdale Park, the Lady Liberty was refurbished and reinstalled at Oakdale Park, and in addition to that, the plaque that was very hard to read
Yeah.
because it had some oxidation on it was polished up and it looks really great.
Yeah, I did. This picture doesn't do justice. You got to see it. It's really
Yeah.
nice. It
And
really is.
Yesterday, I saw some before and after pictures, and where it was almost a whitish gray look, and now it's black, and it's really looking sharp.
So that was Rich Bergen, right?
That was Richie Bergen who refurbished that piece. City staff and some, with the help of some contractors, took it off, had it delivered to his shop. He restored it at his shop, and those same set of volunteers and staff, volunteer contractors, brought it back and reinstalled it on a new base. The base there was new. The previous base had some. Yeah, it wasn't in good shape. So we had to replace that base. Playground border at Woodland Park, we replaced that border at Woodland Park. We got to add some mulch, which is scheduled for this spring. And, Parks through Dennis's staff with a contractor resurfaced and restriped all of our basketball courts in town at Sunset, Pacific, and Centennial Parks, in addition to the handball court at Oakdale Park. They had been painted at one time, or not, and we decided we wanted them all look the same. It's a similar coating that was applied to the pickleball courts. So it's an acrylic coating with a sand in it, so it has a little bit of a grip, and if it gets wet, it's non-slip. So jumping down to Lakewood. So February, stocking of trout, and that's the last one of the season, I believe, until November, usually, somewhere whenever the weather's right. And also, I wanted to point out the last item under Lakewood. This was an initiative that the former city manager, wanted us to look into. Was a observation beehive at in various facilities. So we wanted to try it at Lakewood Discovery Center because it made a lot of sense. So the bees are allowed to come in from the inside, the outside of the building and enter into a tube of some type and then go into a beehive that is on the inside, encased in glass. So if you're inside the Lakewood Discovery Center, you'll be able to see bee activity. We did that in partnership with the local honey farm. I think it's AJ's Honey. I never remember the name. And they helped with that, and they're going to help take care of it, and they're going to collect the honey and things like that. So, but it seemed to me a very good complement to the educational and nature programming that we already do at Lakewood Discovery Center.
Before we move on back to the cemetery, appreciate getting that kiosk up. That was been down for quite a while, and I don't think people just realize how important that directory is for people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You're welcome. That was we had a change of technology coming in to serve the cemetery, moving from one vendor to another, and that was a secondary piece of that puzzle that had to be solved. Part of that change. Moving down to special events and recreation programming, toddler time, and Travis can follow up with what I'm going to say if he wants to. It's something he brought back, his staff brought back this last year, and just completed their season, if you will, of toddler time in February with 550 visits. Kenwood Cove, we just finished our early bird pricing, which ended at the end of February. I can tell you that it was not the greatest preseason sale. I think we did advertise that. However, we just didn't have a lot of people coming into the office to buy those early bird memberships. Couldn't give you a data as to how many we sold or how much revenue was that, but
It's hard to think about swimming when it's snowing out. So.
And
yeah, I think that
10
probably
below.
was a hard winter to try to decide whether or not you wanted to be part of the water park. And when you had the coldest January we had in a long time, and yeah, it's probably a tough ask. Golf course rounds played, it's pretty low. We still had a cold and wintry month in the month of February, so the rounds played were relatively low. And I'm jumping over Travis's stuff, but highlights from construction, some of our Bill Burke work. Our staff work was related to the shelter houses at Bill Burke. The Bill Burke structure itself was not in the greatest shape. If you've noticed at Bill Burke at one point in time, there were some support arms that were supporting the columns that supported the shelter. We knew we had an issue with that, and it's been something that we planned for the past 3 years, and getting done now. That concrete work should finish up, weather pending, of course, and how much moisture we get today, but that should finish up this week. And I can go into a little bit more about that. But using a structural device in a new footer will make those columns, make that structure much more safe and secure for many, many, many years.
That's these pictures here.
Some of those pictures, yes. That is some of the work that staff did to secure those shelters with a new structural element in a new footer. And we actually had to put new posts in there as well to support that shelter. It was, that we did notice some termite damage at one point in time on those posts. So it is a treated lumber that we put back up there. I'm not sure the size of post, but it's 6 by 6. It's pretty beefy. And that's all I got for myself. If Travis wants to talk about athletics and Fieldhouse.
Sure. As you know, February is very, very busy in the field house. It was cold out there, huh? We actually had a Kansas winter and it snowed, which is good for the indoors. And we have a lot of different activities going on. We got adult volleyball continues going strong with 32 teams. And Gwen also runs a youth basketball league. That's 26 teams. Tyler back here, he does run the adult basketball league. And Jeff mentioned toddler time. We had upwards of 40, 50 kiddos a visit. So if you haven't came for that activity, it's pretty cool. It's past now, but we do run it in the November through February time on Thursday mornings. And those mamas and daycare really look forward to it. Let them get out in the open space and roam. So that's a pretty cool activity we brought back after COVID. First Tee, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but First Tee does utilize the facility as well. We have some special netting there in the east end of the turf side, and it can hold the golf balls, and they run a pretty cool program in there on Wednesdays as well. Tyler, again, runs pickleball. Pickleball's been pretty prevalent in the facility. We've learned that those ladies don't like the wind, nor if it's a little cold, they're going to come inside. So we've set up several courts for them in the field house as well. The turf has been very, very busy as far as baseball, softball, soccer, and especially with the snow, seen more demand for that turf this winter. The events, world class. Andy Williams, if you know him, and Damon Boyer, they're kind of the head of a world class basketball academy here in town, and they run a few tournaments. And then we had another MEYB tournament. That was a good one, 63 teams. And then kind of interesting, Wichita Homeschool comes up here to run a tournament. And working on that right now, collaborating for next year is not only Wichita comes up here, but Reno County comes up here to run a tournament. So we're working on collaborating, maybe putting those tournaments together. And of course, we have our local Smoky Valley Homeschool who runs a big tournament towards the end of January, and then we do have the ND2 national tournament as well. So homeschool seems to becoming more and more prevalent in the facility. Outdoors, of course, if it wasn't snowing, people want to be outdoors. So typically in that January, February, we see the college activity pick up outdoors. And then right about now or late February is when the high schools start, and then we get our youth going. So you probably have been seeing a lot of activity out there at Burke. So it's only that's just the beginning. So spring is here.
So is Passenger set up enough that when like the state comes on and stuff, it'll be ready to use both fields?
That's a good question. Trust me, Keisha was here, and we showed them, and I know the concept is to start consolidating state tournaments, have maybe 2 of them here. Right now, we're just using Pestinger as more of their practice or warm-up field, and with the state tournament held at Dean Evans. But the concept is there to maybe host 2 classes there. That does open up some issues, though, as far as volunteer help. Do you have enough staff? Do you have enough of things? So, but Keisha is aware of it.
And as I think I reported before, Pestinger Family Stadium has some further additions coming through the partnership with the city with Salina Baseball Enterprises. They have a grandstand that they are working on fundraising towards, and I don't know the timeline on that, but that's another aspect. And then there's an elevated seating platform. So there's some things. I'm not sure if that influences whether or not a tournament would be here or not, but that there is some. It's not done yet. I provided actually Morgan and Manuela provided a few additional pictures that I put in the folder. The top picture is a disc golf group at Oakdale Park where they do their annual canned food drive, which supports the Emergency Food Bank in Salina, Kansas. I think I took this picture from someone else. I did not. This is not my picture.
I sent it to you. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Larry.
It actually was a prayer meeting, but no.
Oh.
No, they had, yeah, it was 20 degrees and 25 miles an hour wind, and I didn't play. So.
That's right. I did take it from Mr. Pankratz. He sent it to me. That's why, and I put it in the folder. And the bottom 2 pictures, as we talked about earlier, that's on the left picture, that is the work of the keeping the structure up while we temporary brace it and put in new poles and new support elements and new footer. And it's kind of a sequence of events. Have to do that kind of one side at a time, otherwise you're taking down the whole shelter. The picture on the right is a contractor who is working at Bill Burke and finishing up this week to put in some additional replacement sidewalks, and also replacing the shelter slabs in those shelters on the left. They've completed, the picture on the left is actually the sidewalk on the north end that would connect the newer 10-foot sidewalk to the trail. And then the additional work they're doing is the concession stand area. That's already been torn out and replaced with new concrete around the concession stand in the middle of the park. And they've already poured concrete on the south shelter, and that's curing. And then hopefully tomorrow or Friday they will pour the north shelter. And then they'll be pretty much done except for some asphalt repairs for that sidewalk on that picture on the bottom right. We cut the asphalt to kind of make a square straight line so it doesn't look like we have a sidewalk that is not straight. So
also at Kenwood, you've added a bunch of concrete for that restroom that really, I didn't even think about not having a sidewalk
yeah,
to it.
we had no sidewalks there
to
reach to the restroom, and it was part of our plan as part of that restroom remodel to provide sidewalks. We were a little bit ambitious. We wanted to connect the sidewalk in the park to the existing sidewalk on Center Street, and that's proving to be more challenging because of the elevation changes there. We also have a drainage issue there where water tends to collect in that corner, and every time it rains hard, we have a nice pond there that doesn't have a natural way to drain, and it accumulates a lot of material. So we're trying to accomplish all these things. And then also we're trying to accomplish some additional ADA parking there. and the area is not sloped naturally to allow for ADA parking to naturally occur, because it has requirements as to how much grade parking can be. So we got some more work to do over there, but it's in progress. Plus, the whole area of Kenwood Park there by the bathroom is a naturally low area, so it tends to get a little soggy. So we need to bring in soil. We need to divert it towards that new drain. So just some simple sidewalks turned into be a much larger project. So it's ongoing right now, but the sidewalks are completed.
It's nice to see on the therapeutic recreation. Looks like your numbers are increasing quite a bit there. I was at Friendship Center last Friday just by accident, and there was a big group of people showing up for that dance. It was nice to see.
Good.
Yep. Also, the Night to Shine. You going to help with that?
Yeah, we're assisting with Night to Shine, as we did previously when it was rescheduled or canceled at the previous location. We offered, well, we didn't offer. We looked at alternative, well, I can't say we or I, but the event will be held at Tony's Pizza Event Center in April. And I think it's April
25th.
25th, thank you. And I know I'm volunteering at that event to do food service. And Tony's Pizza Event Center was very gracious in helping out and making their space available. They do have an event the next day, but they're making it happen for that Friday night event. And I appreciate Tony's Pizza Event Center for really stepping up and helping and providing their facility when they didn't know if they were going to have a home for this event or not. Yeah. And then Sarah, our therapeutic recreation supervisor, who supervises many things other than therapeutic rec, but she's been pretty integral with the helping plan that event with them and helping make it happen. If there's any other questions about anything I didn't cover in the activity report, please ask and be happy to answer.
Anybody else? Doesn't look like there's any new business, so the old business on the National Fitness Campaign.
Yes, thank you again. So based on some of your questions from the last meeting about this, I got a few testimonials from people that were provided to me that have fitness courts in their community. David Rains, let me see what order I have these in. Yeah, David is with the city of Coffeyville, Kansas, which I believe is a relatively small town. They put in one, and I provided the email, what he provided to me. And it seems like they have a lot of classes being held and they actually did a fitness court studio. So if you recall, it's not just the 38 by 38 court. They have the additional area where they do group instructional classes for fitness there. And then, let's see, and I thought I had another email in here. Maybe I don't.
There is, it's on the back of, well, another email.
You did in the
Yeah, you did in the packet.
packet
Yeah.
that you sent out. You had
Oh.
it.
One from Spring Hill.
It was from Spring Hill, Kansas,
Where's
which is, looking up Spring Hill, Kansas. It's not
Doesn't have any pictures on it, but it's in the packet there.
yeah, it's near Kansas City.
Suburb south of Olathe. Yep.
Yeah, they put in a fitness court, the 38 by 38 pad. And do you have it in your packet,
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
members? Okay, great.
Yeah, it's towards the back of of all the pictures.
Or the big pictures.
Yeah, it's at the end of the whole fitness presentation.
Oh, there it is. Brian Peel with Spring Hill. And I thought his reference or his information was valid. They're relatively new. It's only been 5 months in there. They have fitness classes held there. They didn't have a lot of data, but they've observed some participation in their classes. They did it with jointly with the city, and the Spring Hill is a recreation commission. So they did it with a shared funding between the commission and the city of Spring Hill. They said it's a nice feature to have, but it's somewhat passive. So, it's on the community to use it. And they said they very heavy duty and durable, so maintenance is pretty minimal.
In Spring Hill, did they do the studio as well, or just? I didn't know if you said that. I was looking for it, and I apologize if I missed you saying that.
Well, one of them has the fitness court, and one has the fitness court studio. I don't recall which is which.
You said
Coffee.
Coffeyville has the studio, so this one just has the court.
I think if that's... Yeah, I don't know which one. One has one and one has the other. I don't know which one's which. But some of their comments kind of gave me the impression that, it's not and I think we talked about this last month, about it's not necessarily a kind of, if we build it, they will come. It's really got to put in an area, and that is, would automatically draw some use. And yeah, that's what I, and also, I'm sorry, what's that?
So are you going to possibly do programming at it then too?
We would not have that type of staff to do programming. We don't have fitness staff and the other thing I provided was Coffeyville provided their usage report. Let's see if I can find it. And Coffeyville had it long enough that they were able to publish a report based on use from the previous year.
Yeah, it's this one that looks like this
Yeah.
and this.
So Coffeyville must just have
On the back
the
of one of them.
There we go.
court and
I'm
not
looking at
the-
usage profile, and then the level of service mapping sheets. There's not page numbers, so I can't point you to a page number, sorry. But they, according to the national average, 200 average annual users for the nation in a rural location for Coffeyville, where they exceeded the average of 278 users. Annual usage would be 5,000 nationwide for a rural location, but they were averaging 6,949 annual usages of the fitness court.
And this is just based off the information that they have from the app, correct?
This is the information that they get from the app. Now, and this is not all users.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's just what's captured
you're-
from the app.
You're spot on.
Okay.
Saying that is that this is not the capture. This is the capturing of the data they're able to capture.
Right. Okay.
And then they give the calories burned as well. But you're right. It is only information they're able to capture, and not walk on. If you don't log in with the app, you're not. Those statistics aren't being recorded. And they have some demographic information for Coffeyville as well, as far as what they see for the typical user. Population of Coffeyville is 8,842. Spring Hill was relatively new enough that they don't have this data, so they were not able to provide that.
Is this something that we would look at, like renting out to have like permits to use for group classes if we do the studio, or is that what you're thinking?
I was thinking it would be an amenity in our park system for people to use
On their
if
own.
they wish to,
On their own?
on their own.
Okay.
Encourage the use of the app because it gives you some fitness opportunities. I did not have a conversation yet, but Mr. Pankratz did about the YMCA had an interest in possibly doing something like this as well. I don't know the details of that because I haven't reached out to Chris yet. I saw him recently, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
I thought it was interesting that the man from Coffeyville mentioned that their firefighters use it for fitness training. If we could get groups to plan on doing that, it seems, I'm just worried that it would sit there and no one would use it.
Right. The other comment of here that the older generation felt intimidated. That's
Well, they have to use an app.
Well, yeah, you have to use an app. And then I think it was brought up last meeting about the a few pieces similar equipment at the Olivia's playground. And I'm like, I don't know how to use this. I mean, I part of my degree is in exercise physiology. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what this is for. Yeah.
But it doesn't have an app at Olivia's Playground.
this is true.
I'm looking for the instructions, I'm old school.
It does have some of those.
The ones that chipped and the corners are chipped and things like that.
So what's the next step?
My next step is if there are opportunities in the future with the city commissioners to kind of discuss this with them to gauge an interest of funding for a future year, if this is something that we want to move forward with. Your feedback would be shared with them during that time.
I'd be interested in hearing ongoing reports. We see these, well, on the map, wherever that went, it had Parsons and
Independence. Those are all fairly new.
Okay.
yeah, and they're new.
Right.
Just
So,
to see if they think if they're getting more popular or
Right.
less popular.
Some of the ones that have been there for some time. The fitness court people, National Fitness Campaign, they are reluctant to share that because it's, I don't know if it's proprietary data or not, but reaching out to those individually, I'm sure they're willing to. I just reached out to 3, Coffeyville, Spring Hill, and I reached out to Junction City. They did not return my call or email to get their data. So, but I can reach out to more, get more information, certainly. After our last meeting and after getting the feedback from the 2 gentlemen of the different other communities, my feeling was not necessarily this being a city-led and paid for and funded project, but seeking out potential partners, whether that be the YMCA or the school district or whomever that might be, and seeking an opportunity for that to occur, which it's not unusual for us to kind of park things for future possibilities of whether other donors might want to step up or other partners might want to step up and help us with this.
A discussion I had with YMCA is like they're the programmatic side. You know, they have the fitness people, so I
They
think
do.
it'd be a
They
nice
definitely do.
partnership between Parks and Rec and them doing the programmatic side.
They do. And that's, I wouldn't say it's intentional that we just never been in the fitness business as far as I've been here, 8.5 years. We don't want to jump in their territory or their turf, and they do it better than we do. We don't have the facility really to offer that type of service of exercise equipment and classes for fitness related things.
So do we need to take a vote on this, or just more bring it
if,
back up in time down the road, or?
Well, it's really up to the board. If you feel that you want more information, and you want to direct me to get more information for you, I can do that.
When I was talking about more information, I was thinking, I mean, if you're putting it off till next year, check back with the same people next year and see if it's
Right.
more popular or less.
Right.
So that's kind of a long-term.
Right. Well, the purpose of me doing it now is to request the money right now for 2026 because we're in the midst of starting our budget season.
I see. Okay.
And that's why, and that's the purpose, that's my timing, and that's the, my method to my
Madness.
timeline, if you will.
Like, they're still kind of in like that honeymoon phase where it's new and everybody's, I think getting some more long-term data would be
Okay.
important and
Okay.
good.
And what was the overall cost?
I believe it was the budget item that I was going to ask for was, I believe, it was 150 to 175 would be the city's contribution, assuming that we would be eligible for the grant.
173.50.
And would there be any recurring annual fees that we have to pay into that beyond
No,
that?
after it's installed, we have and then it includes the concrete pad, and that price of 175 or 150 included that concrete cost.
That'd be maintenance inclusive as well?
That would be the construction cost. They did not identify or give me any indication that there was any ongoing maintenance cost other than just maybe, pressure washing it or cleaning leaves off, which is, there's some time involved in that. But there was no one else said, through the references, they did not certainly say anything that there was any maintenance. But again, those two references are relatively new. But if someone had it for 5 years or 4 years, maybe they say, well, we got to replace this and replace that. I don't know that right now.
I know that they had the awnings that were potential inclusives and things like that will definitely have wear and tear that would annually probably have to be addressed.
Yes, definitely. Especially if you, if you had a canvas or vinyl, you'd have to take it down and bring it up. Otherwise, the wind would
Shred it.
do some damage to it. And then you look at something more expensive, like more of a pavilion style with a rigid metal roof, which is probably what our preference would be. So we wouldn't have that ongoing maintenance of taking that down and putting it back up or replacing it.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I would say ultimately it's going to come down to how much we have to pay versus how much it's going to be used, right? Is the value there? So I would ask that we get a little more information from maybe some communities that are a little closer sized to Salina and what those numbers look like. Like Ash said, I mean, the ones you did, it seems like they're pretty new. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay. More research. Good deal. That's fine.
Anything else? All right, we'll go ahead and move to the project status updates.
Let's see. We have initiated a conversation with Brett. You want to take this one, Brett?
Anything specific? Matson Field, is that what we're doing? So we've basically started. We've broken ground on Matson. If you haven't already seen, they went out first and took out the irrigation heads, so they didn't hit that. Our goal is obviously to re-level the field. If you aren't familiar, out behind second base, if you were a shortstop and there's a shallow fly ball and you're running into center field, you go through about a 9-inch drop, and we're trying to get rid of that. We're going to fix turf. That'll be on our staff once this is all laid out. But they finally broke ground. It's been we've kind of been waiting, obviously weather related, and then today, awesome. But anyways, it's broken ground where hopefully they plan on being done here. Let's see, when we're in March. Probably right after the first part of the first week of April is what they were originally planning. I don't know if today will set them back. And then staff will get in and start replanting the field. And then hopefully by next year, we've got a nicer, cleaner field up there that the high schools and if need be, anybody else that wants to use it, a natural turf instead of artificial turf like we have. We thought it was important to keep one really nice natural grass turf field, and so hopefully next year it'll be nice and ready to go.
What kind of grass do you put in?
A blend. So the infield is a bent grass, which is actually used on golf courses a lot. It's able to be cut really short, but still keep that fescue-like green, and as opposed to like a Bermuda. But although you do have to we should use a reel mower to cut it to keep it that short, but it'll stay alive, whereas if you did it with a fescue, you'd kill it. And then in the outfield, we use a blend of fescue and bluegrass mix, like an 80-20, I think it was. So that's what we do on all of our athletic, not the bent grass, but the fescue bluegrass mix is what we use on all of our athletic fields. So.
Thank you, Brett. Bill Burke concrete work, and I kind of gave you a pretty good idea of that earlier. Hopefully they finish up this week with the concrete, pour on Friday, I think, and finish up the asphalt repairs next week, and they'll be out of there. Then we can start reseeding the areas that were disturbed because of that work. Dog park at Parker Park is we've contracted that. We have a meeting next week with the contractor to start that. Once they get started, it should be about 190 to 100-day process, depending on the lead time of the things that are being ordered today and tomorrow, which is solar lights, pavilion, two pavilions for that area, rigid roof pavilions, metal roof, and then also the dog bowls, which are watering dog bowls. So those are things that have to be ordered because they have a lead time associated with that. And I'll know more next month about a timeline, a better timeline, and probably you'll probably see some progress by next meeting of concrete work and fence work.
So are those automatic dog watering bowls?
I believe the human would step on a lever or a button, if you will, and then the water would come out and the dog would drink. We're looking at similar ones. We would look at the same ones that are used at Barkley Park. Yeah.
We have water at Barkley Park?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Watering bowls, yeah,
Well,
all three pods.
because
Yeah.
Not sewer.
Yeah, I haven't got, yeah, not sewer, yeah. I haven't been up there far enough.
Yep. And restroom remodels. So we're still working through the two older style bathrooms in Oakdale Park. We should have those completed before Riverfest, so we think sometime at the end of May. The exterior work on the middle bathroom, or the tennis bathroom, or now what we call the pickleball bathroom, is we'll have exterior work on that completed before Riverfest. After Riverfest, we will pick up the rest of the interior work and also the Lakewood bathroom as well. So.
The nice thing with that is a lot of our restrooms have been kind of like you didn't even really want to go in them. And the ones that they've already done, like especially at Bill Burke and stuff, it's just really, I mean, it's not like it's that bad place to go anymore.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say it's, like.
Well, it's a restroom, but I mean,
Yeah, it's a restroom.
it's not a hole.
Right. I've repeated this several times. We were looking at solving several problems, whether it be ventilation, smell, cleaning, ease of cleaning, staining of floors. So we were trying to solve all these issues with epoxy floor, ventilation, better lighting because it was dim and dingy. So there was a lot of, and we're kind of keeping that same scope for all of our bathrooms and working our way through. Jerry Ivy Memorial Park, I don't have much for that. I am working through trying to do some comparisons of recent splash pad projects to get an idea of price versus the number of features versus the square footage. In April, I have a discussion with the City Commission about that to give them a firmer idea what prices are going to look like if we were to move forward on a different project to replace that splash pad at Jerry Ivy Park. The old splash pad at Jerry Ivy is being demolished as we speak. That is something that we has started just last week, I believe, and that is a work in progress. And I think we gave a few Pestinger Family Stadium updates about the upcoming grandstand, seating area. Also, we are We have our irrigation system now live, so we are working on seeding, a plan for seeding that area so we can get that irrigation on that new seed and have it grow this spring. We're also working on closing off that area with Travis's staff to make sure no one walks on it, drives on it, whatever. Trying to keep it in good condition so it has a year of growing season. And lastly, Glenifer Hill Park, the city is actively engaging with a person who provided a bid for the purchase of Glenifer Hill Park, which is the former parkland, now city property that is getting ready to be sold to an individual for a possible future development. Just want to give an update about that. And if I'm missing something on my project update list, please let me know.
Any other general announcements or questions? Well, we'll take a motion for adjourning.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.